Hello and welcome back to Just Code It. Today we're going to be starting a new tutorial series on LangGraph. This tutorial series is not going to start with the basics like installing LangGraph and things like that. We're just going to jump right into it. If you've never used LangChain before, I would suggest looking at my tutorial series on LangChain before getting into LangGraph. There's a lot of overlap that would be useful to know, but to begin, LangGraph is an agent framework that allows you to make more complex agents when interacting with LLMs than you can with LangChain. LangChain is more of a linear workflow, whereas LangGraph can be a graph structure and allow you to make decisions and loop back on specific nodes. You get a prompt template, pass it into a vector database, get the response, pass it into the LLM. Graph can do more complex workflows, such as a research agent, advanced RAG agent that can combine web search and document searching at the same time, things of that nature. To begin, we're going to start with the shared state for the workflow. The shared state in LangGraph. LangGraph really revolves around this shared state. LangGraph passes one object, the state, what we're making right now, from node to node. The shared state for the basic LangGraph that we're creating is user input as a string and steps as a list of strings. We inherit from this type dict so that code editors can know exactly what keys exist. Each key, so each one of these user inputs or steps, is optional at runtime, but declaring them beforehand greatly reduces the amount of bugs you will encounter. I would highly recommend using them. And it also will give you type hinting throughout your code, which is extremely useful. So just get in the habit of using this. Let's move down to the node functions. Node functions are any callables that accept a current state, so the state, and return a partial state. Return only the things that it changes or wants to change in that state. For instance, it would change maybe the step for this one. For the start node, we're gonna just do something pretty basic and do a print statement and then just return steps equals start. That's what we're changing, and that's that partial. For the step one node, we're just gonna do something similar to the previous one. We're just gonna change the step and define the state, grab the state and steps and just add step one to it. We're grabbing the string from the step, we'll grab start plus step one. For the step one state or this method step one, what we're gonna use is essentially the same thing as above, but we're just gonna add to the step list and we're gonna add another step. Here, we're just gonna have a print statement and then grab the steps. The only difference is we're gonna return the steps and the steps are gonna be state and we're gonna grab steps, so that list of strings, and then we're gonna essentially append or add step one to it. For the first two steps, it's gonna do start and then step one. And for step two, we're gonna do the exact same thing, but with step two, instead of step one, it's gonna go start, step one, step two. After creating the graph, we want to then add the nodes to the LangChain graph. Right now, these are just methods. To add the nodes to the graph, we're going to first create a builder. A builder is a state graph with the builder is set, the variable builder is set equal to state graph, where we pass it our workflow state. So that state that we created in the top right here, that class. So we're passing it our initial state. From there, we then add our nodes. We're gonna add the start node and have it labeled as start. And then we're gonna add step one, have it labeled as step one, and step two, it labeled as step two. After creating the nodes, we need to draw the edges between them and connect the nodes. We're just gonna do a simple sequential graph where there's no looping back on each other. So we're just gonna go start to step one to step two to the end. After defining the edges of the graph, we then want to tell LangGraph which is the entry node. As you can see, we have the end, defining the end, but it doesn't know which node to start at. Here, that's what we're doing, is we're defining the entry point with start. Now let's go down to the main function where we're gonna just create a compiled object. What the compile does is check some things and will let you know if you have any errors, if a node is not connected to anything, things like that. You can get a little bit of error handling for free here. You do builder compile. If it passes the compile, you can set up your initial state. We're going to do workflow state and set it equal to user input hello LangGraph. That's the input, and then the steps is just going to be an empty list. After creating the initial state, we then do app invoke to get the final state. Finally, we're going to print the structure of the graph and print the final state. If we give this graph a run, you can see running step 1, running step 2. Then we're going to print that graph structure. Here you can see the start state, step 1, step 2, end. Then finally, we have the final state, which is the input. We have the input, hello LangGraph, and then the steps, start, step 1, step 2. That is it on how to construct just a very basic graph. Up next, we're going to be adding a LLM to this using OpenRouter, Llama, and OpenAI. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and also check down there for the GitHub link with all the code for these tutorials. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time.